there and welcome to Diva TV. We will be taking on a very, very important guest in the studios this beautiful moment. And of course, you know, it's the COVID-19 era. We want to see what this portends for Nigeria. And now we have a very special guest in the studios. He is no other than a doctor, is also a lawyer, and of course is a commissioner. That's a very strong mix. Now we have Dr. Paul Oweh very much in the studios. He is the commissioner representing Isoko ethnic nationality on the board of Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, Desopadec. Let's meet him. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good
nice
morning. Pleasure to have you. Okay, we're talking about COVID-19, and I do know that you are a medical doctor, and by and large, you're also a lawyer, and you're a commissioner. Now, let's take it from the angle of, you being a doctor. Now, COVID-19 in Nigeria, of course, we're also embracing looking at the new normal, as it were. Now, what's your thoughts really on COVID-19 and the spike in Nigeria? What should expect that, every time NCDC reads out, reports on COVID-19, we should expect that the cases will be lower. But now there's always a spike. What's your thoughts really?
Thank you. Let me say a few things about the COVID-19 itself. Now, it is a viral disease. Talking about rising cases is because to control human behavior is very challenging. We already know a few things about the COVID since it came on board. We are aware that if individuals are infected, within 2 weeks, thereabout, it will either manifest symptoms or dissipate. That's why we describe them as it curtails itself, it goes through a phase and it is off. And that's why patients or people who come in new are quarantined for 2 weeks. Okay. Because it is expected that within that 2 weeks, it will have gone on its own. Okay. And that is why the idea of lockdown became very necessary. When people sit in their various homes and you are not coming in contact with new people, it's expected that you will not, the potential of transmitting to another person is greatly reduced. And therefore, it ought to reduce the chances of infection. But again, as you will note, when you lock down the society, economic issues crop up. Obviously. So you have to balance these issues, and the authorities in their wisdom will have to really do this balance, and that's why they begin to introduce gradual face-off, because people have to survive, speaking economically. Okay. But the point must always be stressed that asking people to go back to economic activity does not in any way imply that COVID-19 problem is over. It only means that you should learn more about how to survive with it. And learning more basically brings you to NCDC guidelines and all the things being issued by the various state government, protective measures, such as social distancing, wearing of masks, washing of hands,
use of hand sanitizers.
Use of hand sanitizers, and all other sundry measures which are being drummed up to our people every time. And for me, as an opinion holder, I would ask that every person hearing this, for now, should continue to adhere to the rules.
Now let's shift gear a little bit and take you on Isoko Nation.
Yes.
Of course, you are the commissioner representing Isoko ethnic nationality on Desopadec, yes, on the board of Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission.
Yes.
Now, what's your thoughts on Isoko Nation and corporate social responsibility, rather, of companies, right here For instance, I do know in Oweh, I know you have one or two companies here.
Yes.
How do you rate, their corporate social responsibility to their host community?
Well, the prominent ones that I know will include Heritage. It will also include Ajip and maybe some other ones, but these are the prominent ones that operate in our area. And as you know, we've been going through the troubles of COVID-19 for close to 6 months now, if not more. My assessment is that they have not done well enough. Because
is it before the advent of
both before, but in particular during this period, even if you were not doing well during normal times. I mean, now that we have entered a special time, you ought to raise the bar.
That's true.
But we're not saying that. We're not feeling the impact. I understand. I made some inquiries. I understand that some few bags of rice were shared to some communities, and that came from some of these maybe Heritage and Ajip or whatever. But they are grossly inefficient, especially if you consider what the state government is doing, you consider what local government is doing, you consider what individuals are doing. These are corporate organizations that make a lot of money from our land. So I'm saying they've not done well enough, because I expect to see something tangible. Even if it is some of our general hospitals, you provide something that can benefit the people generally, or you engage in training some doctors or some nurses, something that is visible. Giving 5 bags of rice, for instance, to my entire community, it's not worth the while.
And it's not like they are engaged, or do they engage youths in the company? Do they have youths working in the company?
In fact, those have been some of the lingering problems. What they tend to do is want to engage some few ones, usually on ad hoc basis. And I'm sure these are things some of the leadership of Isoko Nation have been tackling with these people over the years. And it is our hope that they will improve. But for now, their scorecard cannot be so good from me. For now, because I have been around the area for a while now. In those days, in the early days of Shell, you can identify 1 or 2 roads, that was constructed into some of the hinterlands, and people benefited from them. But now, no way. It's just what the state government and maybe what the local government is able to do. So for me, like I said, they are not the corporate organizations here. They have not been able to meet up to what they ought to do, and they have this moral obligation to so do. It's a moral obligation, because you are taking from the place, and in the process of taking from the place, you dilapidate the environment, you pollute. You must give something back. If not at ordinary time, like I said, at special times like this, when all hands must be on deck to help. Okay,
now we've been talking about companies.
Yes.
Now, what do you have to say about a government presence in Isoko Nation?
Okay. Yes, thank you. Yes, this is my area really. Let me say that the government of Delta State, under the headship of Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa as the governor, has tried or is trying for the people of Isoko Nation. And I look at this from different angles. You look in terms of appointment of Isoko sons into the government of Delta State. It's been fair enough, but it could be better. You look into developmental issues. Every Isoko person will admit that giant steps have been taken by this government in terms of constructions of very important roads across the nation. You look at the governor's program on agric, Isoko people are benefiting. You look at the educational impact, so the government, then you look at the workforce, the civil servants. I have heard from several persons in the civil service that they've never had it so good.
Oh.
Yes, they talk in terms of payment of workers' salary, and of course that includes Isoko. They're narrowing it down to Desopadec, where I hold. I represent Isoko Nation on the board of Desopadec, and our funding is from the 30% derivative. We have a formula for getting it, and I can assure you that the governor has tried in trying to fund the place according to agreement. So, and I also want to put on record using this opportunity to appreciate this current board, which was sworn in about a year ago. So as you speak to me, we are engaging on commissioning of projects across the oil-bearing nation. Okay. And in a couple of days, it will be the turn for Isoko Nation. Only a few days back, I went around some completed projects, and as I speak, I have about 10 completed projects as we speak, which will commission very shortly.
In Isoko Nation?
Yes, in Isoko Nation, referring to Isoko South. Some of them include, 6 classroom blocks in some primary schools. If you see these schools, you will be...
On the Desopadec platform?
Yes, Desopadec.
Okay.
Desopadec, yes. So we have some as schools, some as streets, very strategic streets across these different communities. I can tell you, for instance, that in our very upcoming commissioning, which will come up shortly, we'll commission some blocks in MAD community in Isoko South. We'll commission some in Oweh, Iri, Oyede in Isoko North. Ozoro will commission a very, very big water project in Urucho quarters in Ozoro. So we're doing well.
Yeah, I can imagine. This is the first time I'm actually seeing one who is a lawyer, at the same time is a medical doctor, at the same time is a politician. I'm trying to search your mental files, how you can juggle this together or pull this together. At one point in time, you were acting, you're a doctor, and another point in time, you're also a lawyer, and you're also into politics now. What's the whole idea behind it? How did it come about? She just said, no, I think I want this field, I want that field, where people will think of just embracing a field, and you're embracing all fields. So, I mean, how did you manage, to actually arrive at this, and how do you juggle your time, really?
Thank you. Now, what I'm going to say now is more like very personal stuff.
Okay, please do.
The way God has given me grace to manage myself, to me, it's a special grace.
Okay.
I studied medicine as my first love.
Okay.
So I graduated as a doctor in the 80s, and since then till today, I have never ever stopped practicing medicine.
Wow.
I established my hospital in 1992. For me, it's been a success story. Now, I go to the second part. It is my success in the locality that caught the attention of the politicians and people, and I get involved in them because we are local people, we are at the grassroots, we are with the people. So you become a voice automatically.
Okay.
And when you participate, then you are recognized sometimes. Over the years, that is how it has been. I was chairman of Hospital Management Board under the second tenure of Chief James Onanife Bori. And thereafter, in 2013, I was appointed as a Federal Commissioner in National Assembly Service Commission. It's a 5-year full-time tenure job.
Wow.
I finished it in 2018, and 2019, I was appointed by His Excellency Dr. Senator Oweh into this post. And what I do is I devote my time to wherever, my energy, my passion to whatever assignment I have at hand. Now, if you come into law,
Interesting.
As I practice here in Oweh, my original intention was to go specialize in the postgraduate medical college, but I would have had to take me out of the community and it would have spelled doom for the hospital.
Okay.
But I decided to stay back because I have issues to attend to. And so the law faculty came while after I had established this hospital. Of course, I became friendly with the provost, the lecturers and everything, and they encouraged me. And I took it up. And once I got admitted, I took it very seriously, as I do with whatever I lay my hands on. And believe me, I went through and I went to law school. I completed it, and as I speak to you, I am registered up to date.
Wow.
So I can actually change this and go into legal practice if I so desire.
Oh, that's actually very interesting.
Thank you.
And I know you have, there's a passion, you mentioned your first love is medicine.
Yes.
And while you were talking, you referred to your clinic as though you're passionate about it. Now, is there a take home for anyone who is in this profession as it relates to patient to doctor relationship, as it relates to, patient coming to you again and again? Is there something unique about you that you'd want to share?
Yes, for me, it's my experience. I will tell the public,
Okay,
and especially members of my profession, especially the younger ones. One, you have to apply yourself to this job because patients come to you with problems, and what they expect is that they should be relieved when going. We have a maxim, above all, do no harm. If at the worst case scenario you cannot help a patient, please don't make his case worse. If you need to refer him on time.
Okay.
If you have the skill and knowledge, ability to do it now. Do not put money first. These are very key ingredients, and make yourself accessible to these people. Now, we have a saying, and it is true for those who can work with it: the patients are the masters. You set up hospital for patients, not for you as a big man. If they don't come, you are not a big man anymore.
That's true.
So you make yourself available to them. And these are some of the things we put into practice. But in all this, you need God. So God's grace is important for giving you good health, good strength to be able to pursue some of these endeavors.
And proper lifestyle.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. We've been interacting with Dr. Paul Oweh. He's a medical doctor, is a lawyer, and of course, he's our commissioner representing Isoko ethnic nationality on the board of Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, Desopadec. Now, very quickly, just before
Yes.
I'd let you go, I'd want to address, Isoko indigents. I wanted to do it as though you're talking to them in your diets. Just a take home as they embrace the new normal. It's a sign of really.
Yes. Thank you very much. Isoko Manwado, Isoko Mayor me Dr. Oweh, Meru Devieri, àwọn kìkìkì náà wà ní ọmọ COVID-19. Ma bete miriele la popobi na uze mi oro gọọmenti ojisejire kuma primary lue no eyan ogbe chumain so me be lowo pobi ano auza bo kipobi ma fi ware fi ovama ro vami masike lo wo ma po e ha no ahuro bu ebu hu ma ti gbe ware nana ma ti we no enyama ti wo mojo oti noto mare yo uzazo ma mare yo uzazo ma vre o e pano ma bi luvere so evoke na maro matoto maluo e panatana wadu.
Well, quite a very interesting moment interacting with Dr. Paul Oweh. Yes, he's a medical doctor, he's a lawyer. I like to sing that all the time, so you know the combination, and it's not easy. And he's been so articulate, telling us so much about COVID-19 and, of course, the reason for the spike and what you should do to stay healthy. More so, it took us through a connection on the platform of Desopadec, not even leaving out His Excellency Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa's contribution to his connection. We'll have more updates here. You just stay tuned as Diva TV, and of course, this is Jiwoten. Thank you.